next week one matchup, we have the Burp Squad versus RNGsus, two veterans that have been in the league for a while, and we're this is gonna be a pretty interesting matchup. Last season, they were both in probably the hardest division in FPL history, both competing for that same playoff spot over the whole year, and actually, in the end, neither of them ended up getting it. So this could be a bounce back season for both teams.
Yep, I do feel a little bad that I was actually the one to steal that playoff spot from the two of them because they both had very good showings last season. We're going with some interesting strategies on both teams. You know, I don't think a lot of this has been seen before. So, Thwacky Melmetal out of Ayush. If I'm on Ayush's team, if I'm playing for him, what I'm looking to do is keep that Thwacky and Melmetal alive till the end. Because if we're looking at this objectively, I mean, Cacturn is your only resist to that Grassy Glide. Other than that, it's going to be absolutely brutal for Lantern. If you get some chip damage on Garchomp, you could see a kill there. And that Alolan Dugtrio is pretty squishy where, you know, you could even see a kill on it from that. So I would definitely keep that in the back pocket.
Yeah, not only that, but this Double Iron Bash looks to be pretty good into this matchup here. Lantern's really the only thing that resists that, and if he just keeps bouncing that Thwacky and Melmetal back and forth, the Lantern may not be able to stay in for very long.
Right. But out of Alex's team, we have another kind of interesting strategy with Sand. So normally you would see a lot of the Sand Rush users, you know, making use of that ability with, you know, getting speed. But Alex has actually opted for synergies with just Sand Force. And it seems to kind of be more using Hippowdon to just be Hippowdon, you know, get those slack offs off, get some toxics off, get some stealth rocks, and just overall be a nuisance with that.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and it does help with these Sand Force users, because not a lot of Sand Synergy Pokemon are very fast, but Alolan Dugtrio and Garchomp are definitely two of the faster Sand Force users in the draft. So, you know, especially with Garchomp getting Scale Shot, we could see Sand Force actually maybe benefit those Pokemon even more than Sand Rush could.
Right, but on that note, with the Sand Force users, we might actually see a bit of a counter to that in, again, that Thwacky and Melmetal, because grassy terrain does lower the power of Earthquake by half, which is just going to be absolutely brutal for Alex, considering he has 3 ground types that are normally going to be running Earthquake.
Yeah, not only that, he has no other stab in the Melmetal. I mean, the next best option that he has is maybe a superpower out of Cacturn, or maybe like a Fire Fang or the rare Fire Blast out of Garchomp.
Yep. Yeah, we could actually, that Fire Blast, we could be seeing that because Alex is known for a bit of his weirder tech, so I wouldn't be too surprised if it shows up this battle.
Yeah, Alex is always such a fun player to watch battle. I mean, I'll always remember his Runerigus Zoroark bluff from last season was one of the greatest battles I've ever watched in my entire life.
For sure.
But yeah, one Pokemon that stands out on Alex's team that kind of doesn't really go along with this synergy of this Sand team is Dusclops. It was a lot more common before the addition of Galarian Corsola to the game, but now that Corsola Galar has, you know, not necessarily taken over the meta, but it exists and has performed really well in the league in the past, Dusclops has kind of fallen by the wayside, so we'll see how it actually plays this season. I think this might be the first season it's been picked, or maybe it's been picked before, but it hasn't been used very frequently.
Yep, and I mean, speaking of first time being picked as well, Lantern out of Alex's team as well. Water Electric, just great typing. Volt Absorb and Water Absorb are, you know, great abilities, so we could see some interesting switches and pivots with that. Maybe not necessarily in this battle, but...
Yeah, and speaking of Volt Absorb, with Volt Absorb on the Lantern and 3 ground types, I don't know if Raikou's gonna have the greatest matchup in the world right now.
Uh,
Now it does get Scald. Keep in mind it does get Scald for some of these ground types. It does get Aura Sphere for this Cacturne maybe. But its stab is basically, I mean, to be honest, useless this battle. I don't know if he's gonna click Thunderbolt a single time in this battle.
I honestly don't even know if I would have brought Thunderbolt.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would have brought Raikou to this battle, to be completely honest with you, but we may see an interesting Raikou set that actually doesn't have an electric type move on it.
We could.
Yeah.
That would definitely be a bit of a surprise, but I mean, Hidden Power Ice would be hitting that Garchomp pretty hard, so it's an option.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see what that last move is going to be, whether it's going to be Volt Switch or something else. Yeah. Anyway, with that, let's get started with the battle.
All right, so we're going to be seeing a Golem lead into a Hippowdon lead. Probably just exchanging rocks here.
Yeah,
which might be a bit of a funny interaction.
Two very standard leads. Oh, it is the Rock Polish set. I love this set so much. I absolutely love this set on Golem. It is rocks anyway, which I think is very fun, and we see
and Alex with the whirlwind.
Oh my goodness.
Very surprising start to this battle.
That's such a funny interaction.
Or a switch brings out the Thwackey. Not sure if I like that actually.
Well,
because, as I mentioned, I do like to keep that kind of in the back pocket.
That is true. He does get the grassy terrain up immediately, though. Now, to be fair, getting one Scald off might be the most Raikou's going to do this battle, but a Grassy Glide immediately puts up a little bit of damage on Garchomp, not a ton, and it does take some recoil off that Rough Skin, but enough to kind of cripple it a little bit. We'll see what he...
and actually stays in for another Grassy Glide.
Wow.
Maybe. I guess just trying to clear out that Garchomp as quickly as possible.
There's that Fire Fang I was talking about earlier. He did bring that, which means it's not a mixed Garchomp, it is just a purely physical Garchomp, but that is... you know how you run it, so you can't be too surprised. Switches out predicting the hidden power, which may be smart. And there it is. Yep, there's the hidden power.
10%. Wow.
Yeah, Dusclops is a absolute beast. I love that Pokemon.
And we see a Melmetal switch. Are we going to see a possible Will-O-Wisp?
There it is. And that cripples Ayush's only wall breaker for this Dusclops. I don't actually know how Ayush gets through this Dusclops anymore. It's
we could see a Heal Bell on this Sylveon, but I mean,
now
that's brutal.
Notice that this was actually Terrain Extender on Grookey. Ayush was prepared for the all the earthquakes and actually decided to just keep the terrain up as long as he could. But with that pain split, yeah, this Dusclops is just a menace. He just switches out. He just gets out of there. Yep.
And now I do think we are gonna see a Heal Bell, but the question is he going to be able to get off a Wish Pass here? Hippowdon doesn't necessarily provide the offense Alex needs to punish a Melmetal switch.
That is true, but just keep in mind that there is no more grassy terrain, so he is hitting these full power earthquakes for the rest of the game. And wow, that is a I
don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate.
Well, I would say unfortunate considering that he jeez. It's a huge double Iron Bash. Wow. Into a physical tank like Hippowdon, that's insane.
And Ayush, does he actually stay in? He goes for, and there's the Dusclops.
Yeah. Well, once he got rid of that burn, all of a sudden the wall breaker becomes a wall breaker again.
And that is a brutal punish. Goes into a Lowland Dug Trio.
Yeah. Now there's the Sand Force boosted Earthquake right there.
Get that Regenerator off, and does Alex read this? Nope, he just goes for an Earthquake, but that does put it in range where Ayush has to be careful. You know, he could either sack Sylveon or essentially sack something else. Pretty much anything is going to be dying to this Earthquake here.
Yeah, there's another Protect, but if I'm Alex, I just keep spamming Earthquake right now. There's not much that it's gonna be standing up to it. Look at that. I mean, even a Regenerator doesn't. Yeah, he just has to sack it. Even a Regenerator proc doesn't live through that.
Yeah, I maybe actually sack the Golem there because Yeah, it doesn't necessarily do as much into this team, whereas Sylveon does shut down the Garchomp pretty nicely.
That is true. Actually, this is a situation where Raikou might be beneficial just to at the very least force out the Dugtrio, but I don't know what Raikou's going to be doing after that.
No, I mean with Melmetal's health where it's at, it is looking like Alex is going to be taking this home.
Yeah, this Dugtrio is a very underrated pick from Alex. It does lose a little bit of the speed that regular Dugtrio gets, but and he must not have had Scald on this.
Yeah, it comes as a bit of a surprise, but I think we will be picking up the kill on this Hippowdon as well.
But
And
I think Lantern may just come in and force this thing out,
Yep,
or otherwise Cacturn maybe. Yep, there's the Cacturn.
and if we see Aura
Oh,
Sphere, no,
doesn't
a
even
Sucker
matter. There's a
Punch
Sucker
comes in,
Punch.
and Cacturn will take home the win for Alex, likely with a close combat here.
Yep, or a superpower, but there it
Or
is.
Oh, there we go.
And that's the game. So Alex's Sand Synergy is strong enough to get through Ayush's bulk, even through the grassy terrain.
Yep.
And he's able to take it home.
Yeah, he managed to stall out that terrain extender pretty well and put himself in a situation where his ground types weren't really out until he got rid of the Thwacky. So I think Alex really read the threats to his team well. He kind of ignored the Raikou, which I think is exactly the right thing to do in that situation. And yeah, I think it was overall a pretty good level of play.
Yeah, personally, I absolutely love the bringing of Terrain Extender. It's one of my favorite items in the game, especially on Psychic Terrain, but Ayush has this really unique team comp where he's able to actually use that grassy terrain to his benefit and make it so that Earthquake can't touch the Melmetal. But yeah, great play from Alex here. I'm really interested to see if this Sand Synergy keeps carrying him to these wins throughout the season. He also has like a whole Hail team that he just didn't bring here as well.
He does.
Yeah, so I'll be interested to see if that makes its appearance at any point. I think his Sand team is definitely stronger. He's got the higher tier picks on this team. And he did miss out on Arctozolt on his Hail team.
Yeah, by far the strongest pick
Absolutely.
for a Hail team in the league, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it really isn't even close. The next best is what, like a Lowland Sandslash or like Beartick.
Honestly, for value, it's probably one of the two.
Yeah, which are both heavy hitters, but nowhere near what Arctozolt can do.
No,
Yeah.
no, that Bolt Beak is just brutal.
Yeah, but either way, great play from Alex. Tough loss for Ayush, but we'll see how they do in the next few weeks.